Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Alerio Gold's channel on the forefront of a precious metal renaissance. Joining us today is Chief Executive Officer Jonathan Challis. Welcome, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
Living the dream as always, and yourself.
Ticking along in the land of COVID.
Yeah, I hear you there, man. So we got lots to dive down into today. We're going to do basically a cycle here where we're going to be diving down into Alerio Gold. But today I want to focus more on yourself, your team, and exactly who is driving this company. And I know yourself more particularly has an extensive, 30 years in the mining side of business and finance and this kind of whole sector. Do you want to just kind of lead us into the history of your past getting into Alerio Gold and just kind of give us some insights here?
If only it were 30, I feel I'd be still a kid. No, I've actually been in the mining business for far too long. I started in the gold mines in South Africa in 1974. So I've worked in South Africa, Angola, Sierra Leone, Guinea, Peru, Chile, Brazil, Canada, US, Australia. Jack of all trades, master of none. But no, as for operations, I've been involved in operations for at least 27 years, and on the financial side for about 20 years, on a mixture of both broking and banking and investment banking. So no, when I came back from South Africa, I'm British by origin. I did an MBA, and from there, through these various twists and turns that life takes you, I ended up in the City of London working for James Capel, who at the time were the prime broker for South African gold stocks in London, and had a great deal of, learned a lot, had a great deal of fun in that business, and then ended up seeing a job advertised in the Financial Times looking for a mining engineer to work for a merchant bank in Paris. Now, as a new mining engineer, I'd never worked out how I could ever get a job in Paris, so I applied for it, and wonder of wonders, I actually got the job. So I spent 3 years working in Paris for this merchant bank, doing raising money for mining deals in Chile, Portugal, Australia, all over. And again, learned a lot about the other side of the business. In South Africa, I'd learned about the technical side, and then marrying it up to the financial side. And it's I started to understand the way the mining business was going. And if you look at the majors now in the business, most of them are actually run by financial people rather than by technical people. So I think you need to understand both aspects of the business to move forward. And I remember in a meeting with somebody from one of the big American companies, and he said, it's interesting position because you can teach a miner finance, but you can't teach a financier mining.
True.
So I'm not sure I'd completely agree with that, but there's certainly some truths in that. In marrying the two disciplines can be a challenge at times. Anyhow, I've worked in Canada for the brokerage business, Scotia McLeod and CM Oliver. Back in the UK, worked for Robert Friedland for a few years, and I've learned a lot from various people I've worked with. Some things things you should do, some things you shouldn't do. And it's been a fascinating career so far. So I think Alerio is going to be the culmination of what I've done in the mining business. Alerio is a fascinating animal. It's had a lot of money spent on it over the years, $34 million spent on it, and but really it culminated, I suppose, in about 2010 when SRK put together a resource number for the previous operator of 500,000 ounces. And at the time, gold was $1,000 an ounce. There wasn't a great deal of interest in gold, and they couldn't raise money to take it to the next step. So they dropped it, and the property dwindled, and nothing much was done. But we've inherited a database which involves 30,000 plus meters of drilling. It involves a 650 meter long airstrip on the property. We have a barge landing which can accommodate 1,000-ton barges, which is 60 kilometers from the coast. We have a 120-man camp, and we know that the local artisanal miners known as pork knockers in Guyana have spent a lot of time on the property recovering gold. we know from the SRK report that gold is easily recoverable from this material. It's a low grade saprolitic deposit, very well weathered. Recoveries are 70% plus, and the artisanal guys were recovering gold through a very, very simple high pressure water jets into a sluice and just recovering gravity gold. So we know it's very friable. It's not like you hear about alluvial miners with mercury and cyanide and polluting this. This is still pristine. I wouldn't say wilderness, because it's not quite wilderness, but it's uncontaminated, and that's the way we want to keep it.
So this really just lives in your blood, and it's kind of incredible that we really are kind of heading into this precious metal renaissance, because like you were saying, I mean, gold was trading down for such a long time where most of these people were getting bled out, a lot of these family miners, a lot of the smaller mines. And I noticed that a lot of people that were smart enough, like you said, a lot of guys that I know in the industry really related to the finance side kind of just started accumulating these. And then out of nowhere, obviously, for where gold sits today, those mines have become relatively, the margins have definitely extended into a range of profitability, leading to a lot of new explosion in exploration. I mean, exploration is becoming a huge thing across, especially in Canada, where I am right now. But before we that'll be a conversation extended to another day. But do you mind talking a little bit about your team here as well, and who's kind of backing this? Because I mean, like I said, you're living this in your blood, but you got Greg Smith as COO, Jeff Balderson as CFO, Al Fabro. You got some board of directors with Lee and a couple other people here. Do you want to just touch on some of the expertise you have behind you as well?
Sure. Well, this is the we have a team of with lots of gray hair, and the one thing about this business is the more gray hair, the better. Greg is probably the only one without too much gray hair. But he has a long history of working in this part of South America, the northern part of South America. He spent a long time in Venezuela. He knows Guyana very well, but also as a geologist, he understands the similarities between West Africa and the Guyana Shield. So he spent a lot of time working in Ghana, along in that part of the world. And if you think back many millions of years ago, these two parts of the globe were actually joined together. So there's a lot of geological similarities between West Africa and the northern part of South America. So you can put the two together quite nicely. And the beauty of it with Greg is that he has a depth of knowledge that is hard to surpass. And he is going to be a key person in driving this forward. He has contacts in South America that he will bring to bear to take us to the next step. And as COO, he's going to be a key person for us. The other person who I met years ago, probably more years ago than I care to remember and he cares to remember, is Lee Graver, when he was a geologist with Homestake. And Lee actually has an interest in a private mining operation in Guyana, bauxite mining. He also has interest in a private equity business that finance mining companies in Australia. So he understands, again, the technical side plus the financial side. Al Fabro is ex-broker, Canaccord for many years, but also he's driven a successful gold exploration company in West Africa. So he knows how to finance, how to move the companies forward, and how to monetize them for the benefit of the shareholders. And Jeff is the person in the background who keeps us all on the straight and narrow. So he keeps us on the compliance side, keeps the money in the bank, doesn't let us spend too much. And we have a great close-knit team. There are a few holes that we will be filling over the course of the next 12 months, but all in all, we have a great core group to start with.
Yeah, that's incredible insight. I really appreciate this. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back and we're going to talk about these operations in Guyana and hopefully get a little bit more in-depth idea of these property types and exactly how you guys are managing that over there. But in light of this, I really appreciate your time today, Jonathan.
No problem. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, this is incredible. Really appreciate it. And if you guys ever have any questions, let us know what you think in that comment section below. We can bring it up and perhaps do an investor Q&A surrounding this down the road. But again, in light of it, stay cool, stay awesome, and I look forward to catching you in the next one.